High school baseball game of the week on City TV, and welcome to Hawthorne High School, where crosstown rivalry will continue. And this is the wrap-up game of all of the crosstown rivalries, the trifecta. And this is the Lawndale Cardinals taking on the Hawthorne Cougars, and this should be a great pitching matchup today, with the Cardinals at 9-4, and they are 0-1 in the Pioneer League already with a loss to North yesterday. And the Hawthorne Cougars come in at 7-3-1, winners of 4 in a row, beating St. Monica 3 times in a row. And Andrew Banuelos with a couple of great pitching performances in that series with the Mariners. And let's go over some of the Hawthorne defense, and we'll start off with Steve Leyva in left field. In center field, it's Dominic Gutierrez. Javier Martinez is in right. And on the infield from third to first is Jose Sandoval. Anthony Banuelos is at short. At second base is Jose Marquez. Jose Banuelos is at first base. And Chris Robles is behind the plate. On the mound, it's Mark Laffoon. And boy, what a season he is having. And there's 2-1 record with a 1.08 ERA. And this is his 6th start, and he has 25 strikeouts and 15 walks. And that's right where you want to be, especially with the walk to strikeout ratio. He will face the Cardinals, coached by Tony Parente. It'll be Arnold Escobedo, Stephen Randolph, George Escobedo, Brian Gomez, Manny Avila, Miguel Osorio, Sergio Blandon, and Anthony Santillan. And the 9th batter is Ivan Argueta. Just about ready to get underway. Hilarion Domain and Walter Moore are the umpires. Domain behind the plate, and we're underway. Fastball outside for ball 1. So Arnold Escobedo having a good season. These Lawndale Cardinals are having a good season, that's for sure. Here comes Laffoon's pitch. Breaking ball or slider, and that's outside, so it's 2-0 to Escobedo, who comes in batting .415, 17 hits in his 47 at-bats, or plate appearances, 41 official at-bats, with 7 RBI. Pops this one up, and it hits the extended screen that comes out over home plate, and that's strike 1, 2-1. So this is our first look. Well, there you see Arnold Escobedo in the Cardinals when they're home gray. Mark Laffoon, have seen a lot of and read a lot about him, but this is our first look at him in our third telecast. Strike 2, fouls it off. So it's 2-2. The opposing pitcher will be Sergio Blandon, who is 1-0. This will just be his 3rd start of the year. But Sergio making a really good transition from the hardwood to the baseball diamond. Escobedo has his count 2-2. Laffoon pitching out of the stretch. This one's grounded foul, so it remains 2-2. So the Cardinals losing to North in their initial Pioneer League game. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Curveball swung on and missed. And on the play, Chris Robles tags him out, so it's strikeout 2 unassisted, and the first strikeout of the game goes to Mark Laffoon. That'll bring up Stephen Rudolph. Stephen having a very good senior year. And a curveball, and that's hit off the end of the bat right to Banuelos, who steps on the bag. So that's 3 unassisted. That'll bring up George Escobedo. Just want to tell you that Rudolph came in batting .390 with 3 extra base hits. But coming up against Mark Laffoon, that's a different story. So George Escobedo comes in, the other half of the Escobedo twins. George batting .412. Has 14 hits in his 34 at-bats. Swings and misses at the curveball. And George, with 2 RBI, also has 2 doubles. LaFoon with a fastball curveball, and that fastball bites off the outside corner, and Escobedo's in a hole, 0-2. George has walked 9 times, so he has a good eye, and has struck out 4 times. So time back in on what has turned into a breezy afternoon, as per usual. Fastball on the corner, strike 3 called. So 3 up, 3 down, 2 strikeouts for Mark LaFoon, and nothing doing for the Cardinals against LaFoon. And the the Cougars will get their first look at Sergio Blandon when we come back. Bottom of the first inning coming up, and Sergio Blandon will face Dominic Gutierrez, followed by Jose Marquez, Andrew Banuelos, and then Chris Robles. Jose Sandoval follows, then Mark LaFoon, the opposing pitcher, Steve Leyva, and Jose Banuelos, and then it's Javier Martinez rounding out the batting roster, the batting lineup for Jeff Hines. First pitch to Gutierrez is high and away for ball 1. Sergio Blandon 1-0. This is his 3rd start of the year and has an ERA of 0. Has given up 2 unearned runs. Curveball, and that's just low. Ball 2. And Sergio has an excellent 26 strikeout against 8 walk ratio. Sergio Blandon. Fouled off, and it's 2-1. Let's go over the outfield for the Hawthorne Cougars as Miguel Osorio is in left field and giving a lot of real estate up to the left-handed hitting Dominic Gutierrez. Arnold Escobedo is in center, and Ivan Argueta is in right. Fouled off, and it's 2-2. On the infield from third to first is George Escobedo, Manny Avila, Stephen Rudolph, who is swung over to the right side, and Anthony Santillan, who is deep behind the bag at first base. 1-2 is the count. Curveball, and that stays up high, so now it's 2-2. Okay, it's called a foul ball. So it remains 1-2 the count. Look out. That one's ripped over the Cardinal dugout, and it's still 1-2. Dominic Gutierrez has been just lighting things up. He's hitting a hefty .621 as he steps in. That one's up high, and now it's 2-2. Gutierrez with 18 hits has scored 14 runs, has 14 RBI already, and it's 5 doubles and a triple and a sacrifice fly. And trying to go the other way, just sticking with the pitch. Sergio Blandon being real crafty out there, and it remains 1-2 with that foul. Gutierrez has only struck out 3 times, has earned 7 walks, and has a slugging percentage of .862. Breaking ball, and that stays high. And Gutierrez has worked the count full to 3-2. This one could be a grinder. Two terrific pitchers and two gristly tough offenses. Outside. That was way outside, and ball 4. First base runner of the day goes to the Cougars, and that'll bring up Jose Marquez, playing out in right field today. So Blandon has a good move. We'll see the speed of Dominic Marquez. First pitch, and that's in the dirt, and it gets away from Gomez. But going down on that pitch is Dominic Gutierrez. So it's ball 1 to Marquez, who squared the bunt, now squares again. Pulls it back, but still called a strike by Domain, and it's 1-1. So going to call that a wild pitch on Sergio Blandon, so not a stolen base. And team manager for the Cardinals, Kayla Phillips, is up here, so she's pretty much an official scorer here. About as official as we're going to get. Finally, after, 3 years, she agrees to sit here in the booth. So I guess your peeps didn't make it today? Is that what happened? Yeah, they didn't show up. Usually can't pull her away. This one's fouled into the Cougar dugout. So it's 1-2 to Marquez. Hawthorne shut out St. Monica 3-0 on Tuesday. And it was Andrew Banuelos with 2 hits and an RBI to lead the way. Gutierrez can run. He's 11 out of 11 in stolen bases. Two and 2 now to Jose Marquez. Fouled it back, and it's still 2-2. Marquez coming in, batting .440. Has 11 hits and has scored 10 times and has a couple of doubles. Also has an RBI. That's a Cougar sitting out there at second base. Strike 3 called on the outside corner, and that was a beauty by Sergio Blandon. So each pitcher with a strikeout. And that'll bring up Andrew Banuelos, playing at shortstop today for Jeff Hines. Coaching over first base is Joel Romero, Oscar Robles, and A.J. Perry assisting. Sidearm curve, and that gets away, and the throw down and out. So a nice play by Brian Gomez to George Escobedo, and that's the second out of the inning. So we're going to call it caught stealing. 2-5. You see the nice pickup, the nice recovery by Brian Gomez. And now you see why Brian is starting to open up some eyes from scouts. A nice arm, a good accurate throw, and a nice tag by George Escobedo. So first pitch to Banuelos is low for a ball. Batting .500, and that one bites off the outside corner for a strike. And it's 2-1 to Andrew. This game's moving too fast today. 3-1. Andrew has 14 hits, has scored 13 runs, and also has 10 RBI. So 3 Cougars in double figures in RBI. Sandoval and Gutierrez tied at the top with 14. Then there's Banuelos with 2, who also has a couple of doubles. Inside corner, strike 2 called. Banuelos trying to jackknife out of the way to kind of fool Hilarion Domain, but he said nope. Got the inside corner. That's fouled off. Remains 3-2. So the hitters better be on their toes because Hilarion Domain has a bigger than usual strike zone. And that's good. Fastball, and that's whacked into left field for a 2-out base hit. So first hit of the game belongs to Banuelos and the Cougars. And with 2 down, here comes the catcher, Chris Robles, batting in the cleanup spot. Well, Mom, you better look at that nice white jersey now because in about another inning or so, it's going to be all full of clay. There you see the base hit, a nice swing by Banuelos. Fastball, and that's up high for a ball. Robles batting .548, has 17 hits and 9 RBI, has scored 10 runs, has 4 doubles. Fastball, and that's low. 2-0. Now the strike zone is drifted away on Blandon. Marquez on the season is 5 out of 5 in stolen bases. He's out at first, creeping out to his lead. Fastball, and that's in for a strike. Ball 4, and second walk of the inning. And to second base goes Banuelos. That's right. I made an error there as Marquez struck out. So Banuelos, let's check his base running. He's 5 out of 6, but don't know if he's going to be running now with 2 on and 2 out with Jose Sandoval at the plate. Curveball bites off the outside corner. Jose batting .276, and this one's hit off the hands, picked up by Blandon, and throws it over to Santillan, and that'll retire the side in the bottom of the first inning. 1-3 on the putout. No runs on a hit, and 2 Cougars left. And we'll go to the second inning, no score. Top of the second inning, and the Cardinals will send up Brian Gomez, Manny Avila, and Miguel Osorio to face Mark Laffoon, who has 2 strikeouts already. Swing and a miss by Gomez. Gomez made a terrific play on a ball that was in the dirt outside, and going on the pitch was Dominic Gomez, or Gutierrez, and threw him out. So a nice play by Brian Gomez. Looks at strike 2, 0-2. And Laffoon just keeps on rolling. With the 2 strikeouts, he has 26 already. Banuelos has 35 strikeouts already. Big curveball swung on a miss that gets away from Robles. And throwing down to first, and it pulls Jose Banuelos off the bag. So a strikeout and a throwing error on Robles, and here's the going to see that. Gets away from Robles, And charging down to first base is Gomez. And then the throw is just over the head of Jose Banuelos. And there's LaFoon's pickoff throw. Looks pretty good. Brian Gomez is 1 out of 3 in the stolen base department. Has a decent lead for a big guy. And that breaking ball over the top curveball stays away. So it's 1-0 to Manny Avila in his first look at LaFoon. The wide open stance. And that bites off the outside corner. It's 1-1. Avila coming in, batting .316, has 12 hits and 11 RBI to lead the club. Also has a double. Ball comes out of Banuelos' glove. I want to put some sandpaper in the pocket there. Not now, just sand it down a little bit, rough up the leather. A fine, coarse sandpaper. That's fouled off. So it's 1-2 now to Manny Avila. Manny's got 6 walks and 3 strikeouts. Has also been hit once. As LaFoon looks over his shoulder at Gomez, and the fastball is right down Broadway. Strike 3 called, and that's the 4th strikeout for LaFoon. 2 in each inning so far. But the throwing error by Chris Robles allowed Gomez to reach, and here comes Miguel Osorio. Miguel playing in left field today for Tony Parente. Curveball, and that stays up. 1-0. Miguel coming in today, batting .235. Looking at Parente's signs. Has 4 hits and 3 RBI. Doesn't have an extra base hit yet, but with this wind and a nice gap in left center field, who knows? Runner goes, the pitch is swung on, a curveball that was up, and good contact on the hit and run. So it's 1-1 to Osorio. Sometimes when you know the guy's on the run, you're going to make better contact, and that'll help your batting average or help you get out of a slump if you're in one. So Gomez with a very average lead, a short lead. And that's outside. So 2-1 to Osorio. Hawthorne has always been able to find some good pitching. Lots of guys going on to 2- and 4-year programs. Gomez goes, the pitch is swung on and fouled back again. So now it's 2-2 to Osorio. Sergio Blandon would be next. Double play depth for the Cougars. As playing in at third is Jose Sandoval. Cheating over towards second is Anthony Banuelos. Here comes the 2-2. That's fouled away. It still remains 2-2. So the Cougars have yet to play an Ocean League game, while the Cardinals have already started their Pioneer League action. 2-2 pitch, and that's a line drive into right field, and it could be a double play as Marquez catches it but throws it over the head of Jose Banuelos. That would have been an easy double play. And Javier Martinez is hearing it from the Cardinal dugout. Good piece of hitting by Osorio to get it out there, and Javier Martinez just couldn't get that throw down. So safe at first, and breathing a sigh of relief on the base running gaff is Brian Gomez, as he might have thought that line drive was over the head of Martinez, and look out. Curveball didn't curve so much. Sergio Blandon barely moved out of the way, and it's 1-0. So Sergio, without fear in the batter's box, played the same way in the hardwood. Batting .222. Fastball, and that's up high. So 2-0 to Sergio. Comes in batting .222, just a couple of hits in his 9 at-bats, 1 RBI, but if you've been watching these games on City TV, we've been telling you that Tony Parente bringing him along slowly, trying to get him into baseball shape. That's a beautiful pitch, a slider on the outside corner for a strike from Laffoon, and it's 2-1. Already 3 outs in the inning, but a throwing error by Chris Robles. And a fastball in the dirt, blocked by Robles, but going down to second base on the wild pitch is Brian Gomez. So 1 wild pitch apiece in this ball game. 1 for the Cougars, 1 for the Cardinals, and here comes the 3-1. Swing and a miss. 3-2. So runner in scoring position, and Blandon has an opportunity to get his 2nd RBI of the season. Looks at ball 4. That's a good eye. Thought that might have been called strike 3. But that's the first walk given up by Laffoon. And all rights, the Cougars should be in the dugout, but that walk extends the inning for Anthony Santillan. Big stick from the left side for the Cardinals, and the pickoff try is out at second base. Brian Gomez straying too far off, and Anthony Banuelos and Mark Laffoon get together. The out is recorded. 1-6, and let's watch this move. Beautiful spin move by Blandon. Thought that ball might have been too far to the right-hand side, but a terrific tag made by Banuelos on the 1-6 putout. So no runs on no hits and a man left as we go to the bottom of the 2nd, no score. Bottom of the 2nd inning, Mark Laffoon, Steve Leyva, and Jose Banuelos in that order to face Sergio Blandon, who walked in that inning and was stranded at first at the top of the inning. But Mark having to get out of a jam and had his defense help him and almost gets hit. Ball in the dirt from Sergio. In that inning, Brian Gomez struck out, but the ball got away from Chris Robles, and the throw went over the head of Jose Banuelos at first. 2-0. Then Avila struck out looking. Osorio lined out to right field, and Javier Martinez had a wonderful opportunity to get Gomez, who strayed too far off the bag. 2-1 to Laffoon. That extended the inning. Sergio Blandon then walked, and then a great pickoff move by Laffoon to pick off Gomez at second base. 3-1. So LaFoon getting out of the jam and gets rewarded by getting the first at bat, and then that's not a reward. Sergio didn't want to do that. So LaFoon came in batting .284. And now coming in is Steve Leyva batting .310. Stevie has 9 hits and 6 RBI, also has a double, and bunts this one, and a perfect bunt. It goes down the line as Escobedo got it, and this one's going to go all the way into the, it's still in fair territory. And coming in to score the first run of the game is LaFoon, and the ball gets away. Here comes a throw to the plate, and that hits Leyva in the back, and safe at home is Steve Leyva, and it's 2-0 Cougars on a bunt. So let's watch this one. As Leyva lays down a beauty, picked up by Escobedo, and Leyva arrived the same time as the ball. The glove was ripped off of Santillan, and Mark LaFoon came all the way around to score as that ball rattled around in the corner, and now Tony Parente is going down there to see what's going on. Wants to know, I would imagine, what's fair and what's foul, what's out of play. Actually, they're looking at their, is that Santillan? They're looking at Anthony Santillan. Got that replay again, guys? Do we still have the replay? Santillan. Okay, so Anthony Santillan was run into by Steve Leyva. And Escobedo making the throw, and you can see the throw and Leyva came at the same time, and the throw was in the dirt. And Anthony Santillan got hit by Leyva. I don't think they're questioning the ball being in play, rattling around where that false wall is there where the bullpen is. But now the umpires are conversing. Hilarion Domain and Walter Moore. But the bases have been cleared, and it's 2-0. So that was an error on the bunt from George Escobedo, and then another error on Escobedo on the throwing error. Jose Banuelos looks at strike one. George Escobedo, and that was called strike two. Throwing the ball in and hit the back of Steve Leyva, so you have to give him an error on that. So 2 runs and 2 errors. And this one's into the gap into right center field by Banuelos. And nobody's going to get that one. That one goes off the fence. And as a matter of fact, it goes underneath the fence for a ground rule double. So that's the first clean hit. That one's right into the gap. A good swing by Jose. Coming up with it, actually Arnold Escobedo watched it go underneath the fence for a ground rule double. So Jose, helping himself out, was batting just .053, getting his first extra base hit. And that'll bring up Javi Martinez, and it's 1-0. Martinez squaring to bunt and looks at strike one. And again, you got to be on your toes with Hilarion Domain. Martinez coming in batting .273, has 6 hits and 7 RBI. Also has a double and a triple. So a dangerous hitter. There goes the runner, and the pitch is popped up into short center field. Escobedo lets it drop, and on the play, Steven Rudolph was bird dogging with Manny Avila. And doing the smart thing, getting back to second base, is Jose Banuelos, because he didn't know if Arnold Escobedo would come in to get this or not. Martinez faking the bunt, and it just falls in. That'll bring up the top of the order, and that's squibbed and just missed by Escobedo. Little line drive off the end of the bat. So 2 on, nobody out. 2 runs already in for the Cougars, and now the top of the order, Dominic Gutierrez, who walked and was eventually picked off, was caught stealing in the top of the first. That one's fouled at the plate. 0-2. So Sergio Blandon has an opportunity to get it out himself. Gutierrez came in batting .621. Still there with the walk. Has 14 RBI. Dangerous, dangerous hitter. It's tied at the top of the leaderboard for the Cougars with 14 RBI. 1-2 the count now. So we'll see if there's anything going on this pitch. It's fouled back. So Gutierrez not getting cheated up there. It's 1-2. There you saw Blandon. There's Gutierrez. Way outside. So it's 2-2. Time called. As the ball from the ground rule double, I guess, is thrown back in. And Jose Banuelos standing out at second base. Curveball, and that stays high. So now it's 3-2 to Dominic Gutierrez. That's up high. That should be ball 4. That is. Dominic says, well, wait a minute, I want to get my swings in. So trotting down to third base is Banuelos. Over to second is Javier Martinez. And coming in to the batter's box is Jose Marquez. So Gutierrez with his second walk, and Marquez struck out looking. Squares to bunt on the squeeze try, but not really coming down the line hard was Banuelos. So the infield is in for the Cardinals. Looks at a strike. 1-1 is the count. Marquez has an opportunity to really break this open with a base hit. Swings and misses, and it's 1-2. No outs, and the bases are loaded. Way outside, 2-2. Marquez with just 1 RBI, but has 11 hits. Outside. Now it's full at 3-2 with nobody out and the bases loaded and 2 runs in. Fastball down the middle, and that's fouled off. So it's still full with Banuelos at third, Martinez at second, and Gutierrez at first. Here comes the 3-2, and that's high. And that'll walk in a run. So an RBI for Marquez. And over to second base goes Gutierrez. To third base, Javier Martinez. And in to score is Jose Banuelos to make it 3-0. So now Tony Parente wants to go out and talk to his right-hander, who really got into trouble by hitting the leadoff hitter, the pitcher, Mark LaFoon, in the back with a pitch. Then Steve Leyva tried a bunt. And then George Escobedo fielded on the run and threw it short to first base. And Anthony Santillan tried to make a good play, hung in there, but was hit by Steve Leyva running by. Then LaFoon scored. The ball came around after it was rattling around not out of play, but around the bullpen wall. Ball one to Andrew Banuelos. Throw into third base. Escobedo picked it up and threw to home as Leyva was coming around. Now it's 2-0. And then hit Leyva in the back with his throw. Swung on and missed, as Andrew Banuelos was looking to get the grand slam. Now the wind is blowing, but not as hard as it was a while ago. This one's off the hands, and that is a double play. If I'm not mistaken, it was line drive to Blandon and then doubled off the runner at third. Javier Martinez says, let's look at it again. Off the hand, soft line drive. And then Javier Martinez is out, 1-5. So 2 down and still 2 on. Gutierrez at second and Marquez at first. And Chris Robles looks at ball one. Robles walked and was stranded at first in the first inning. So he's 0 for, still looking for his first official at bat. Gutierrez goes. The pitch is swung on and missed. The throw down is safe. So Dominic Gutierrez steals a base, and the pitch was a strike to Robles, so it's 1-1 to him. Gutierrez with his 12th stolen base. Fouled away. Now it's 1-2 to Robles, and Sergio Blandon has an opportunity to get out of this one cheap enough. So it's 1-2. 2 down and 2 on. Curveballs from the sidearm. That stays up. Runner goes, and the pitch is inside, and a stolen base for Jose Marquez. And throw is short. So the count's full to Robles. And a line drive into the gap into left center field. And that's going to bounce in for a base hit. Coming in to score is Gutierrez. Right behind him is Marquez on the 2-run single by Chris Robles. And that makes it 5-0 Cougars. So for Robles, that is RBI number 10 and 11. Curveball and a beauty, but it was inside. That had Sandoval jackknifing out of the way. It's 1-0, and Sandoval is the 9th Cougar to come up. For Marquez, that was his 6th stolen base. And it's 1-1 to Sandoval. Domain asking Walter Moore if Jose Sandoval swung, but he didn't, so now it's 2-1. And now they got the runner picked off in Robles. And safe anyway at second base. So the pickoff try. We'll watch that. Nothing's going right this inning defensively. They had him. Robles was going. The throw was high, and yep, Robles beat it. Beat the tag by Manny Avila. Now Tony Parente wants to talk to Walter Moore about it, but that was a good call. The throw was high, but Robles was in there anyway. So we're going to call that a stolen base for Robles. I believe that's his 3rd stolen base. Yep. Stolen base number 3 for Robles. Strike called. So it's 2-2. Ball is bounced into Gomez. And that fills the count at 3-2. No one throwing in the Cardinal bullpen for Sergio Blandon, who's trying with this 3-2 pitch to get out of the inning, and it's whacked to shortstop, picked up by Avila, and makes the long throw to across to Santillan to finally end the inning. 6-3 on the putout. As we look at the replay, and trying to run interference on that was Chris Robles, but a good dig over at first base by Santillan to end the inning. 5 runs come across on just 3 hits, and we go to the top of the 3rd with the Cougars on top. Top of the 3rd inning we go. It'll be Anthony Santillan who made the nice dig over at first base to end the inning. He was at bat when Brian Gomez was caught stealing. Actually was picked off by Mark LaFoon. And we have some changes in the lineup for the Cougars. Out of the lineup is Dominic Gutierrez. And into the lineup is Cesar Esquias. Santillan, this is his first look at LaFoon, and the first pitch to him is outside. So let's see if Gutierrez is out of the game completely. Well, actually, in the outfield. That is Esquias out in center field. Pitch outside. LaFoon sat for a long time. He was the leadoff batter in the bottom of the 2nd inning, was hit by a pitch and scored the first run of the game, and then sat around while the Cougars batted around. Santillan looks at the 2-0. Bends in for a strike. Anthony batting .312, has 10 hits and an RBI, also has an extra base, hit a double. Curveball over the top, and that is sent high in the air into left field and off of the glove of Steve Leva. That was in that high sky, and a long single for Anthony Santillan. And now, wouldn't you know it, now the wind comes up. big swing, and that was sliced into left field. Leyva really playing towards center field, but that sun is just really diffused, and that's a tough one. It's diffused because of the cloud cover, and it really spreads out the bright spot. So that'll bring up Ivan Argueta. Swings and misses, actually bunts and misses in the dirt. Had a pitch in the dirt, and it's 0-1. So leadoff runner on for the Cardinals. Fastball, and that's low. 1-1. Argueta batting .357, has 5 hits and 3 RBI. Also has scored 5 times and has walked 5 times. So he really makes the most out of his on-base appearances. Has a good eye, and it's 2-1 to Ivan Argueta. Cardinals still looking for their, well, actually the first hit of the game for them came right now by Santillan. On the outside corner, 2-2. Well, as long as I have the luxury of Caleb Phillips sitting next to me. Did Steve Leyva touch that ball? Boy, that's, is it a hit or an error? Okay, you heard it. Kayla's tough. Fastball, and that's low. So it's 3-2 to Ivan Argueta. So we're going to call that one an error on Steve Leyva. Should have had that one, high sky or not. And it's getting cold out here all of a sudden. Foul back, remains 3-2 to Argueta. Don't think Anthony Santillan would have a lot of stolen bases, and he doesn't. He's 1 for 1 in the stolen base department. The big guy mainly in there to get the runners home. Kind of like a second cleanup hitter in the 8th spot. Here comes the 3-2. In the dirt, nice block by Robles, and that earns a walk to Ivan Argueta. So we'll see how, this is the second walk given up by Laffoon, and now with no outs and 2 on, we'll see how that long layoff in the dugout affects Laffoon. As it brings up the top of the order, and Arnold Escobedo. It's called a ball outside. And time's called now as Coach Jeff Hines wants to have a word with Mark Laffoon. Also coming out is Chris Robles. And the infielders, middle infielders, are talking to each other too. You can see in the back of the picture there, Anthony Banuelos and Jose Marquez talking about what they might want to do with a runner at first and second and nobody out. Pretty simple, just try to turn 2. So Hines has set his piece to his ace, Mark Laffoon. Again, coming in at 2-1 with a 1.08 ERA. And this his 7th start of the season. Now has 29 strikeouts on the year total. And 2 walks on the day gives him 17 walks on the season. Fastball, and that's up high. So 2-0 to Escobedo. Struck out to lead off the game, chinking his .415 batting average a bit. Fastball, and that's low. So Laffoon is having trouble trying to find the strike zone at 3-0. Nobody up in the Cougar bullpen yet. And for Escobedo, he has 7 RBI. Cardinal dugout starting to whoop it up a little bit. Here comes the 3-2. Laffoon. Check that 3-0. Laffoon keeping Santillan close. With a decent lead. Fastball and or a slider, and that was called strike 3, or strike 1, pardon me. 3-1. On deck is Stephen Rudolph. So Laffoon trying to bear down. This one's sent down the line, and it drops in for a base hit in front of Martinez. And now the bases are loaded with nobody out for Stephen Rudolph. So a good piece of hitting by Arnold as he just pokes it down the right field line in front of Martinez and out of the reach of Jose Banuelos at first. And Stephen Rudolph checks in. Santillan down at third base and Argueta now at first. And Rudolph grounded out to first, came in batting .390 and has 8 RBI. Fastball, and that's in for a strike. So rain is in the forecast for Easter Sunday, but might come a little early, it looks like. Anyway, this ball is pitches a ball, curveball. Bounced away from Robles, but staying over at third is Santillan. Don't want to put a big inning in jeopardy by getting thrown out at the plate. Infield looking for 2. And Laffoon again chasing Santillan back, but this time he's at third base. It's fouled straight up and off of the screen right above him, and it's 1-2. So the Cardinals getting their second look now at Laffoon, trying to get dialed in on him. Mark with 4 strikeouts and 2 walks. Curveball, and that's swung on and fouled away, and a good piece of hitting by Rudolph. So if he doesn't foul that off, that's called strike 3. Bases loaded. Nobody out. 1-2 to Rudolph. Pops it straight up. And calling for it is Banuelos, and he puts it away for the out. No infield fly because that was in short left field. So Rudolph just getting underneath it as Banuelos puts it away. So that's 1 down for George Escobedo, whose 2 errors in the bottom of the second really spelled doom for the Cardinals defense in that inning. That was the beginning of a 5-run inning. 2 runs came in without the benefit of a hit and 2 errors on 1 at bat. Swing and a miss on a nice curveball. Escobedo 0 for 1, struck out looking to end the first inning. Came in batting .412. Has twin brother Arnold over at first, and LaFoon spins and chases Argueta back, who's at second, and over at third is Anthony Santillan. With one down, infield still looking for a double play. At the corners, Sandoval and Banuelos, third and first, in on the grass. Fouled off. 0-2. Big matchup against these rivals. Curveball, and that fooled him. Late swing and a miss, and down goes Escobedo on a terrific pitch by Mark LaFoon. That's strikeout number 5. That'll bring up Brian Gomez. This is the only meeting between the two clubs this year. Cardinals played Lusinger twice, as did the Cougars. And Lawndale and Hawthorne sweeping those games away from the Olympians. So bases still loaded, and now 2 down. LaFoon's curveball, and that stays up. Gomez came in batting .268. Now they're trying to get a new ball in play there. Now Parente going over his signals for his catcher, Brian Gomez. LaFoon looks at the bases, which are jammed with Cardinals. Fastball right down the middle and swung on and missed. 1-1. Gomez struck out, but the ball squirted away from Robles and was safe at first. Was wild pitched to second and then was picked off. That was all on one at bat there, and that's a line drive into left field for a base hit. 1 run is going to score. Santillan scores. Here comes Argueta. And stopping over at second is Escobedo on the 2-run single by Brian Gomez. It's now 5-2. Hawthorne leading Lawndale. They see it as Sandoval tried to flag it down, but couldn't do it. Coming up with it was Leyva, who made a nice throw in. So 2 runs batted in on the play for Brian Gomez. And the runner goes, throw down to third, and that pops away from Sandoval, and that enables Escobedo to come in and score. So stolen base, and got to give that a throwing error on the catcher. It was a strong throw by Chris Robles, but Jose Sandoval, and it was in on a bounce actually, and it kicked away from him. And in to score the run, unearned run, is Escobedo. So ball fouled back by Manny Avila, and it's 0-1. 1-1, pardon me. First pitch, that's right, that was a stolen base. There's a line drive into center field as Cesar Esquivas flags it down. And that'll be the 3rd out of the inning. But in the inning, 3 runs are gotten back by the Cardinals on 2 hits And they leave one man on. And we go to the bottom of the third inning. It's now a 2-run ball game. Hawthorne leading Lawndale 5-3. Check that. Yeah, 5-3. Yeah. Have a new pitcher, and that's Arnold Escobedo coming in from center field. And the first pitch from Arnold to Mark LaFoon is in the dirt. So Sergio went 2 innings, and we'll get his numbers in just a moment. Escobedo keeping it a little too low. So 5 runs on 3 hits. 1 strikeout and 2 walks. Two walks, 2 strikes. All right, why don't you write them down and then I'll cut a strike in there. Used to going solo here, but now I'm depending on Cardinal manager, team manager, Kayla Phillips. And LaFoon lifts this one up into right field. Going out for it and finding it is Ivan Argueta. That'll bring up Steve Leyva. So LaFoon getting out the old sand wedge and pitching it down the line. Steve Leyva, no official at bat as he swings and fouls the first pitch back from Escobedo. Was on the throwing error when he bunted it down the line, and then came around to score on the throwing error, all by George Escobedo. That made it 2-0, and this is caught by Stephen Rudolph. There's your defensive gem so far this year on City TV. Beautifully done by Rudolph. Nice piece of hitting. And then Rudolph spearing that one. Says, yeah, that's what I do. There you see Arnold Escobedo. We'll rack that one up for the highlights. And Jose Banuelos was ready to take one for the team, but it just got out of there in time. So it's 1-0. This one's hit high on the infield. And Rudolph takes care of that one. So 1, 2, 3 go the Cardinals, and Arnold Escobedo coming on, doing some good relief for the Cardinals. And the Cougars not really waiting around to see what Escobedo has. And actually, that was caught by Avila. And we'll go to the top of the 4th with the Cougars on top. Miguel Osorio to face Mark LaFoon. And it's 0-1. Miguel lined out to right field his first time up. Bites off the outside corner for strike 2. Rafa Luna is on deck. As we're in the top of the 4th inning in a terrific ball game. This one's fouled off, remains 0-2. Sergio Blandon will get his line to you when Rafa comes up. But Osorio trying to get something going here. Cardinals chirping in their nest on the third base dugout. Another foul ball. Still remains 0-2. LaFoon going all the way so far in his 4th inning of work. These Cardinals work a lot of innings when they're out there, and strike 3 called. That slider bit the outside corner. Did they call it outside? Called it outside. Okay. Thought that was a strike, the way he lifted up his arm. So it's 1-2. Curveball, and there's strike 3, and Robles has to tag him out. So K2 unassisted, and that's strikeout number 6 for Mark LaFoon. That'll bring up Rafa Luna in his first at bat, taken over in center field for Arnold Escobedo, who came on in relief of Sergio Blandon. Rafa batting .333 with 8 hits and 7 RBI, also has a triple. Looking to bunt his way on, but fouls it off, and that takes a bite out of Robles' ankle. 0-1. So Blandon had a walk in his only at bat against LaFoon. Went just 2 innings on the mound, giving up 4 hits and 5 runs. Struck out 1 and walked 4. Had a wild pitch and hit a batter. Fouled at the plate again, and it's 0-2 to Luna. And Blandon had 72 pitches. And he's on the hook for his first loss of the year. And just checking out the runs. Don't know if any of those runs are earned, as a pitch is swung on and missed, and down goes Rafa Luna. So strikeout number 7, and that'll bring up Anthony Santillan. So LaFoon just piling up the strikeouts. Now with 32 on the season. Swings and misses on a fastball outside. Anthony with no official at bat. Hit a fly ball out into left field that was misplayed by Steve Leyva. Just couldn't find it in that sun. Strike 2. Cloud cover coming in from the Pacific Ocean that's right in the left fielder's eye with the sun. And not thick enough to really cover the sun, but it diffuses it and really spreads out the bright spot. Fastball, and that sails outside. 1-2. Ivan Argueta on deck. Should Santillan reach? LaFoon pitching out of the stretch all day long. Swings and misses, and LaFoon, all he does is come in and strike out the side. So 1-2-3 go the Cardinals in their half of the 4th. And for the Cougars, it'll be Javier Martinez, and then the top of the order to face Arnold Escobedo when we come back. Javier Martinez, and then it'll be Cesar Esquivas and Jose Marquez to face Arnold Escobedo. First pitch to Javi is outside for a ball and in the dirt. Up high, 2-0. Martinez coming in, batting .273, and had a base hit to center field. Now it's in for a strike, and 2-1. Curveball, and that goes into the dirt. Now it's 3-1 to Javier Martinez. Escobedo's pitch, and that's outside. So a leadoff walk for the Cougars and Javier Martinez, and that brings up the top of the order. And Cesar Escayas. Going to take another shot at it. Is it Esquias? Caesar bunts it. We'll just call him Caesar. A nice one. Escobedo. All he has is one play, and that's the first. So sacrifice 5-3, and that moves the runner along, Martinez, to second base, and that'll bring up Jose Marquez. Strike one to Marquez, who was 0 for 1. Struck out looking in the first inning. Pitch is in the dirt. Now it's 1-1. Then walked in a run to get an RBI and stole a base and also scored back in the second inning. And the big 5-run second. And you erase the second inning for Sergio Blandon and the third inning for Mark LaFoon, and we have a scoreless game. 2-1. Make that 2-2. So Arnold Escobedo came on and got the Cougars 1-2-3 in the bottom of the third. As curveball, beautiful curveball, swung on and missed. And down goes Marquez for the first strikeout for Escobedo. And second strikeout for Cardinal pitching. That'll bring up Andrew Banuelos, who is 1 for 2. Had a base hit to left field in the first inning and was stranded at second. Pitch is up high. Arnold coming in with a 1-0 record. Stays up. It's 2-0. With a 1.75 ERA, just his second appearance, and into his 6th inning of work. In for a strike, took something off of that one, and it's 2-1. With the strikeout of Marquez, he now has 3 strikeouts to even his books with 3 walks. Curveball, and that stays inside. Now 3-1. Chris Robles on deck for the Cougars. This was popped up and taken care of by Manny Avila. And that'll do it for the Cougars in their half of the fourth. No runs, no hits, and a man left. Arnold Escobedo coming on doing some terrific relief for the Cardinals, and they have some work to do as we go to the 5th. Top of the 5th inning, it's Ivan Argueta, then the top of the order, and Arnold Escobedo, who's taken over on the mound and done very well, thank you, and Stephen Rudolph against Mark LaFoon in his 5th inning of work has given up 3 runs on just 2 hits and has struck out 8 and walked only 2. Nice bunt by Argueta, but it's picked up by LaFoon, who not only can pitch, but he can field his position. So 1-3 on the putout. And that'll bring up Escobedo. Looks like the grounds crew, a.k.a. Jeff Hines and the crew, mowed the lawn out here. And that shortened up the grass a bit, and that bunt doesn't stick like it used to. curveball, and that stays inside for Escobedo, who's 1 for 2, struck out to lead off the game, and then singled in the 3rd inning and stole 2 bases and came around to score in that 3rd inning. And it's 1-1. So Arnold coming in the bottom of the 3rd inning in relief of Sergio Blandon, whose hull sprung a leak and just couldn't stay afloat. Faced 9 batters in the 2nd inning, giving up 5 runs on just 3 hits and 3 errors in the inning. Check that, 2 errors in the inning. 2-1 now to Escobedo, who came on and got the Cardinals 1-2-3 in the 3rd inning, and then after a leadoff walk to Martinez in the 4th, got the Cougars 1-2-3 again. Pokes this one foul out of play onto the track. And it's 2-2. Rudolph on deck, and it's been a terrific game. Low and outside, and that loads up the count at 3-2. Here comes the 3-2 to Escobedo, and that's outside. So for LaFoon, he's gone all the way in every game he's pitched. Gives up his 3rd walk of the game. That'll bring up Rudolph, who is 0 for 2. Made the defensive play of this 3-team crosstown rivalry with a line drive picked off a line drive by Steve Leyva back in the 3rd. Now Escobedo doing some gardening out there, and has 17 stolen bases to tell you that he knows what he's doing out there. And even though that was a pitch out, that was supposed to be a pitch out, it was a curveball low and outside. So it's a good thing Robles caught that thing, or else Escobedo might have been over at 3rd. So that's a stolen base all the way, his 18th of the year. And ball 1 to Rudolph. Underneath the chin, and it's 2-0. So Jeff Hines doing a couple of things, bringing the ball back in, and wants to talk to his right-handed ace. So LaFoon, the 6-foot senior for Hawthorne, doing a good job, but right now maybe running out of gas as he gave up 3 runs. Has a minuscule 1.08 ERA. Even though Hilarion Domain is writing something down, I don't think we had any changes, did we? Looks like Javier Martinez out in right field. And everyone else looks like they're in place. So time back in, 2-0 count to Rudolph. At second base is Escobedo, Arnold Escobedo. And LaFoon Just making sure that Escobedo stays a little closer than he is. And LaFoon goes back to second base, and Escobedo was already on his way back. Back in time is Escobedo, and thanks to his Cardinal teammates, barking in the dugout. You see that there, the tag was just to the right, but also Escobedo, quick like a mouse getting back. And now they got him picked off as Anthony Banuelos throws it down to Sandoval. And safe at second base as Jose Marquez. Actually, the throw from Sandoval to Marquez was a little too late. So here's the replay on it. And you can see they had him picked off. Banuelos throws it down maybe a little bit too soon, and then Sandoval throws it a little bit too late. So speed does the job there for Arnold Escobedo. Stays alive, and it's still 2-0 to Rudolph. Look out. Scoring to bunt was Rudolph, and he had to go underneath it, had to duck out of the way. And did they say it hit him? Well, maybe we had the count wrong. I don't think it hit him. We'll find out. At any rate, Rudolph is at first, and Escobedo is at second for George Escobedo, who's 0 for 2, and down goes Arnold to third base, stole that base. That's a double steal all the way. And now the tying run is in scoring position as Escobedo stole that one all the way. And it's 0-1 to George Escobedo. And LaFoon in a jam now. Ground ball up the middle, scooped up by Banuelos, throws it on to first, and 1 run scores on the ground out. 6-3 to Escobedo, but he does get an RBI on that play. And it's now 5-4, and the tying run, and Steven Rudolph is over at third base with 2 down, and Brian Gomez at the plate. And he has a 2-run single in his back pocket already. Gomez is 1 for 2, has a chance to be the big Cardinal on campus. Swings and misses. Wanted to take the lead with that swing. So for Rudolph, that's stolen base number 13. Foul back, and now it's 0-2, and LaFoon can get out of this one cheap enough. So that would be an unearned run, Escobedo's run. Pitches up high, 1-2. So with 1 out, Escobedo walked, stole second, then snuck in, got himself out of a pickle somehow. There's some bad decisions on the base paths. Swing and a miss, and down goes Gomez for the second time today to LaFoon, and down go the Cardinals. Although they get a run back on no hits and a man left. And we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. It's a 1-run ball game. Bottom of the fifth we go. It's Chris Robles, Jose Sandoval, and Mark Laffoon in that order. And Laffoon has really befuddled the Cardinals, except for one inning. They're getting close, but it's 9 strikeouts on the day for Mark, along with 4 walks that have gotten him into trouble. And Steven Rudolph did walk, so we were wondering if he was walked or hit by a pitch. I guess we were a pitch behind. So it's 0-1 to Robles, who is 1 for 1. And that one bounces in front of Brian Gomez. So Robles walked back in the first inning and had a base hit and stole a base and was stranded there at second in the second inning. And Arnold Escobedo in his third inning of work bites off the corner. Now it's 2-2. Arnold has only faced 7 batters. Coming on in relief is Tony Parente, saving his other pitchers. Curveball, and Robles waits on it and sends it up into left center field, and that drops in front of Osorio. So an error on the left fielder, and that sun is wreaking havoc on the left fielders. You can tell right away. You see the left fielder and the center fielder saying, "I don't see it," and it falls right there. Same thing happened to Steve Leyva. Robles taking a nice lead, and Jose Sandoval squaring around a bunt, gets it back in time. Jose is 0 for 2. Bounced back to the pitcher, Sergio Blandon then, and bounced out to shortstop. Over the top fastball in for strike 1, 1-1. Robles with 3 stolen bases, and he goes. The pitch is swung on and hit high in the air into left field, and that is a foul ball. Jose got it up into the wind. But it traveled foul. That had trouble written on it, that's for sure. But it's a long foul for Jose. Robles with a nice lead at first. Curveball. Called strike 3. Nope. Should be strike 3. But we're not involved in the game, so. Now it's popped up to second base. Rudolph says he has it and puts it away. Okay. I think I know what to get Hilarion Domain for his birthday now. Get him a new ball and strike counter. That'll bring up Mark Laffoon with 1 down and 1 on. Mark is 0 for 1. Swings and misses. Was going for the parking lot in the front of the school with that one at Halcap Field. So Mark was hit by a pitch. Here comes the 1-1 way up high. Now it's 2-1. And then Laffoon came all the way around from first to score on Steve Leyva's bunt that was thrown away, and then another throwing error, all by George Escobedo. And that got to Sergio Blandon inside. 3-1. So Arnold Escobedo started out in center field and now in his third inning of work on the mound. And this one's hit high in the air behind third base, and a nice catch on that one by Manny Avila, as he was the only one not looking into the sun. You can see this as George Escobedo, the third baseman, and Miguel Osorio really couldn't see it. And Manny Avila there to save the day. Steve Leyva steps in, pitches up high. Stevie is 0 for 1. He's been involved in a couple of plays of the game, really. The bunt that was mishandled, he came all the way around to score. 2-0. That was in the second inning. And then hit a soft line drive that had a ticket for center field. And then Steven Rudolph said, "Oh, no, you don't," and dove to his right to snare it. 2-1. Escobedo in the stretch. Looks Robles back, and a good stop by Brian Gomez. 3-1. So no one up and throwing for the Cardinals in the bottom of the fifth. Curveball, strike two called, excuse me. Now it's a full count. Three and two with 2 outs and 1 on. Ground ball to second. Rudolph gets the nice easy hop and puts him away. 4-3 on the putout. No runs, no hits, and a man left for the Cougars as we go to the top of the 6th inning. And the Cougars still leading by a run. For the Cardinals, it's Manny Avila, Miguel Osorio, and Rafa Luna to face Mark LaFoon in his 6th inning of work. When he starts something, he usually finishes it. And this pitch is low, says Hilarion Domain. Manny is 0 for 2, struck out looking in the 2nd inning, and then flew out to center field to end the 3rd. And this one takes a high hop off the infield, a cut of the infield, and a strong throw to get him. Nice play by Jose Sandoval and Jose Banuelos. 5-3 on the putout, and that brings up Osorio. See, the ball went right off the cut of the infield grass in front of home plate. Took a big kangaroo hop to get the speedy Manny Avila. Osorio, he's 0 for 2. Lined out to right field and struck out to lead off the 4th, and lines it into right field for a base hit. So a 1-out hit as Martinez gets it in. That was on the first pitch from LaFoon. And went with it, sent it into right field. That'll bring up Rafa Luna in his 2nd at bat. Rafa struck out swinging in the 4th inning when LaFoon struck out the side. And LaFoon almost throwing that one away. Jose Banuelos doing a good job. Osorio doesn't have a stolen base yet this year. And Luna coming in before striking out in the 3rd, came in batting .333, has 7 RBI. So another pickoff try by Laffoon, trying to keep that tying run close. Or would-be tying run. Infield is double play depth all the way around. Nice stop by Robles. That's 1-0, 1-1. At least according to us. Lots of room in left center field for Rafa. Ground ball to second. Let's see if, oh, big hop off of that cut of the infield on the other side. And that gets over the head of the shortstop, Anthony Banuelos. And you can see it here. It's a ground ball, looks like it was ready for two, and then bang, went right off of that cut of the grass there and almost took off Banuelos' nose. So we're going to call that a hit. Time is out. And the infield's still a double play depth. And we may be getting a pinch hitter coming up on deck. I think that's what Tony Parente was telling home plate umpire Hilarion Domain. So coming in now is Anthony Santillan with the tying run at second, the go-ahead run at first for the Cardinals. Big swing and a miss on a changeup, and a beauty by Laffoon. And it's 0-1. Mark is 0 for 1, struck out and was on an error in the third inning. Pickoff try. Just a little late. Santillan sliced the ball into left field, and Steve Leva lost it in that big diffused sun. And now there's no cloud behind it, and it's just a bright sun. Swing and a miss. 0-2. So the chess match continues as Laffoon looking for strikeout number 10 on the day. Osorio at second, Luna at first, and Santillan 0-2. Sails outside. Ivan Argueta is on deck for the Cardinals, who are 9-4 this season and dropped their first Pioneer League game to North. And Laffoon just keeping Osorio close over at second base. North defeated the Cardinals 5-3. It was a 4-run first inning that did the trick for the Saxons. Santillan stepping back in. Laffoon looks back at second. Fouled back. Three runs on 2 hits for the Cardinals. Five runs on 4 hits for the Cougars, and Marquez sneaking in, and Laffoon smiling out there right now because one of the Cardinals in the dugout screamed balk. So some gamesmanship going on all over the place. These kids grew up together. 2-2 now. This is bragging rights. This is a one-and-done game between the Cougars and the Cardinals. after both teams swept the Olympians. Marquez bird dogging again. Swing and a miss, and down goes Santillan. 2 down. And that's strikeout number 10. So Argueta is done as he's being pinch hit for. It'll be Jesse Garcia. So 2 out and 2 on, and Garcia hits it high in the air. Going out for the ball is Banuelos, and Steve Leyva fights off the sun and is successful this time and puts it away for out number 3. So Garcia, 1 pitch and a fly ball out. There you see Leyva coming in. He's really fighting the sun. And it was high enough to where he got it, but the wind is playing with it as he puts it away. So no runs on a couple of hits, and a couple of Cardinals left nesting out on the base paths as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Cougars holding on to that 1-run lead. Jose Banuelos comes up and bounces it to shortstop, and Manny Avila throws him out. 6-3 on the putout. And Banuelos probably ends his day. Don't want to say that after 3 at bats. Is 1 for 3 on the day. Had a double, popped out to Oliva, and now just grounded out to him. That'll bring up Javi Martinez, who's been busy today down in right field. And at the plate is 1 for 1 with the base hit. And look out, Arnold Escobedo in his 4th inning of work. And has pitched to just 2 batters over the minimum in 3 of those innings in the previous 3. Curveball. And it's 1-1. Well, the wind, Mother Nature must have got tired of blowing the wind. All of a sudden it stopped, and nope, shouldn't have said that. And it's 2-1 now to Martinez. Top of the order coming up next. And Cesar Esquias. Ground ball to the hole at shortstop. A nice hop for Avila. Throws and got him. Strong throw by Manny Avila. Seen some really good defense today from the Cardinals middle infielders. Martinez got that nice easy hop. That's the 3rd time a ball has hit the cut of the grass. And that'll bring up Cesar Esquias. In his first at bat, looks at a ball. Dominic Gutierrez didn't have an official at bat. It's 2-0 now. As Dominic walked twice, stole a base, number 16, and scored. And then sacrificed, had a bunt in the 4th inning. It's still a productive day for the speedy center fielder today. Curveball, beauty. 2-1. Did I check that? 3-1? 3-1. And ball 4. So a 2-out walk from Esquias, and that brings up Jose Marquez. Cesar coming in today with just 1 plate appearance. So still just one plate appearance, and for Escayas, has no stolen base attempts, and the first pitch to Marquez is up high for a ball. Squaring to bunt, brought the bat back and was still called a strike. Jose is 0 for 2, but he walked, stole a base, actually walked a run in, and this curveball he didn't even move out of the way. That's the second hit batsman for the Cardinal pitchers today. First one by Escobedo. And so 2 on and 2 out for Andrew Banuelos. Escobedo in a bit of a jam now. 0-1 to Banuelos, who is 1 for 3. Had a base hit to left field in the first inning, then lined out to the pitcher and popped out to shortstop. Curveball, and that stays up. Cougars trying to get some insurance, and this is grounded towards third, is booted by George Escobedo. Does he make the tag? Yes, he does. So a nice recovery by George Escobedo on the ground ball. So we'll call it 5 unassisted there, and fielder's choice for Banuelos on at first. There you see him tagging Escayas on the way by. So no runs, no hits, and a couple of guys left, a couple of Cougars left. As we go to the top of the 7th inning, it's last call for the Cardinals coming up on City TV. Cardinals have an advantage here with the top of the order coming up to face Mark Falloon, Arnold Escobedo, and Stephen Rudolph, followed by George Escobedo. And the Cardinal bench dugout comes alive. Fastball, and that's underneath the nose of Arnold for a ball. It's a little hello, how you doing? Escobedo struck out in the first, then had a base hit, stole a base, and scored in the 3rd inning, and then walked, stole a base, 2 bases, and scored in the 5th. This one's low, 2-0. But Mark Falloon has been simply terrific. In his 7th inning of work, has given up 3 runs on 4 hits, 10 strikeouts, and only 4 walks in his hit-a-batter. Big jam in the 3rd inning, and he got out of it. And this curveball, and that bends in for strike 1 to Escobedo. And then, in the 5th inning, was in a jam again, but got George Escobedo to ground out, look out, then a run scored, and it's 3-1. And then got Brian Gomez to strike out to end the threat in the 5th. Called strike 2, full count. But errors have cost both teams. An error in the 3rd inning by Steve Leyva to lose a ball in the sun. Anthony Santillan came around to score eventually. And this one's hit high in the air to center field, and back goes Escayas, and a great catch by Cesar Escayas. Is playing in for Escobedo, but the wind really caught that one and gave it a ride. Escayas doing a great job, and there you see the fists up by Andrew Banuelos, the Cougar shortstop. So Mark LaFoon now faces one of the tougher hitters in the South Bay, Stephen Rudolph. Ground ball to shortstop, stays down for Banuelos, throws it across, 2 down to Jose Banuelos. 6-3 on the putout. And Rudolph makes it easy on LaFoon by hitting the first pitch. So that ball didn't hit the cut of the grass this time. Escobedo 0 for 3. Although he did have an effect on the game as the first pitch is looked at for strike 1. On the ground out to shortstop in the 5th inning, the 4th run came across in Arnold Escobedo, but it wasn't an RBI because Arnold walked. So it's 1-1 now to George, who struck out looking to end the 1st inning and struck out swinging in the 3rd inning. LaFoon wanting to end it right here. Fouled at the plate. Now it's match point for the Cardinals. Cougars have won 4 in a row. Although if you talk to Jeff Hines, you'd think that they've lost 4 in a row. Cardinals trying to bounce back after losing the Pioneer League opener, and this one's fouled back. Remains 1-2. So both of these teams look to do well in their respective leagues. And this one is just outside, ball 2. Now Hilarion Domain tightening up the strike zone a bit. And it's 2-2 to George Escobedo. With 2 out, nobody on. A 2 out something needed by the Cardinals to keep it alive. Just low. And that loads up the bases. Earlier, that may have been a strike. But Domain, again, is tightening up that strike zone. 3-2. With 2 outs, top of the 7th. Swing and a miss, and down goes Escobedo and the Cardinals. Hawthorne wins the crosstown rivalry game 5-4 over the Cardinals to improve to 8-3-1, and the Cardinals fall to 9-5 and 0-1 in the Pioneer League. The winning pitcher is Mark LaFoon. He improves his record to 3-1, giving up no runs. But check that, giving up 3 runs on 4 hits, striking out 11 and walking 4 and hit a batter. He is definitely our player of the game. Meanwhile, the losing pitcher is Sergio Blandon. Evens his record at 1-1. Went 2 innings, gave up 5 runs on 4 hits and struck out 1 and walked 1. But Arnold Escobedo came on in relief to slam the door on the Cougar attack. And Arnold went 4 innings and did not give up a hit. Struck out 1 and walked 1 and hit a batter. And for the Cardinals, our player of the game would be Arnold Escobedo. Also at the plate, scored 2 runs and had a hit and 3 stolen bases. So those are our 2 players of the game. I guess our tip of the hat would be Arnold Escobedo. Our player of the game is Mark LaFoon of the Cougars. And there you see the 2, if you can get a shot of the 2 coaches just beyond home plate, right around the third base side there. And they're talking to each other as now the Cougars are out there beyond first base. There's the 2 coaches. Jeff Hines, and over his shoulder is Tony Parente, shaking hands and wishing each other good luck, because that's going to be it for them. They won't see each other until next year. Well, this has been a terrific ball game. As for the Cougars, they get 5 runs on 4 hits. And then the Cardinals, 4 runs on 4 hits as well. And for Hawthorne, a terrific ball game, and also the Cardinals as well. It's too bad that one of the teams had to take a loss today. Well, for Kayla Phillips, want to thank her very much for being our statistician and one of the associate producers today. And the terrific City TV crew, I'm Lou Stowers telling you once again the score from Halcap Field on the campus of Hawthorne High School. The Cougars defeat the Cardinals 5-4. Until next time, so long.